Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. Welcome back to BitChute. Welcome back to Rumble. Welcome back to Free Speech. Tucker Carlson gave a very interesting speech that I thought you would like to hear a little bit of as we delve into today's topics. Today, I'm just simply going to be combing over news, basically, as I comb through the various news articles and digest them. I will give my commentary, and that's how today's format is going to take. I hope you like it. Let's hear a little bit of what Tucker has to say.
The biography, which I would recommend to everyone in this room, of Peter Wrangel, who was the leader of the revolutionary white forces during the Russian Revolution, the Civil War, rather, that came after the revolution. And he was a Baltic German living in Russia, and a general, worked for the Tsar. The war ends, or Russia ceases its hostilities with Germany. He comes back to St. Petersburg, and the country's in complete chaos. And the Bolsheviks have decided that, it's discontent within the army that we need to inflame, and we need to get the army. I don't know if this sounds familiar to anyone here, but get the guns and the people who wield the guns. We need them. So the first thing they do is destroy all discipline in the Tsar's army, complete. So Peter Wrangel's just been on the front for 4 years. He comes back into St. Petersburg, totally civilized city, 2-hour drive from Helsinki. I mean, it is Europe, okay? Whatever anyone tells you. And he's wandering through, and soldiers are going crazy in the streets. And they're raping women. They're stealing at gunpoint. Soldiers in uniform, in a monarchy which had not had any behavior like this at all. And Peter Wrangel just can't even believe it. These are his soldiers. He's a general. And so he's completely freaked out, and he goes into a movie theater, and everyone in the movie theater is completely absorbed in the movie. Like there's no revolution happening outside. And Peter Wrangel thinks these people are insane. So he goes back, he's like, I gotta get to Moscow. So he takes the train to Moscow. I have to tell the Tsar, this country's falling apart. He's very close to the Romanovs, the family. You should read this. It's just out in English translation in the last 3 years. It's an unbelievable book, lost to history until recently to English speakers. So he goes back to Moscow, and he's close to the Romanovs. And so he goes into the imperial court, and he knows all the relatives, and there are millions of them, hangers-on. And he notices about 80% of the women in the Romanov family are wearing red ribbons in solidarity with the Bolsheviks, who wound up, of course we know how it ends, murdering them in the basement at dawn. So, wait, what? Peter Wrangel says, how is it that this country is being devoured by a violent revolution, and the people who can afford movie tickets, that is kind of our middle class, are refusing even to acknowledge that it's happening, and the ruling class, against whom it is aimed, are sympathizing with it? And if this doesn't remind you of BLM, I don't know what does.
Yes, indeed, BLM, Bolsheviks, and basically, it's just another clockwork orange woke. Clockwork woke. I've kind of done a little bit about this already, actually a whole episode about this. I'm beginning to, sometimes I bust the chops of some of the independent journalists that I follow, like Tim Pool or Anomaly. And I'll be like, oh my God, they're beating the same drum again. They're playing the same record again. But you know what? In all earnestness, I am beginning to understand. Just saying it one time, I guess it just simply isn't enough. Dan Bongino, he gave a scathing dissertation. He was on fire yesterday, dropping F-bombs left and right. And he is completely correct when he says it's not gotten bad enough. It would astound you. I mean, is it to the human race's betterment or detriment that we can adapt to so much? How much are you willing to adapt to? You end up prisoner, as the Romanovs did, in their own home until they were finally assassinated, all while virtue signaling. And who are we kidding? I know, Tucker was recounting how, he was, when he came back to the Bolsheviks and they were virtue signaling, what makes you think that virtue signaling was actually consensual. I mean, when you stop and think about it, the past 4 years now, going on 4 years, don't you begin to feel a lot like a gun has been held to your head? You know, virtue signals, say the right things on your social media. Everybody's been threatened, you know, and nobody likes to feel threatened. People, they want to have their free speech, but of course, the radical alt left, they're going to vilify you for it. You're going to be called everything. You know, I mean everything. Just every phobe that you can think of: homophobe, transphobe, white supremacist, anti-Semite, just everything. And they've been called, the dissenting voices have been called this so much now that it does, those words, those labels, they don't even have any meaning anymore, you know. And frankly, I think the ADL, they're beginning to understand that you run around calling everybody a racist, homophobe, white supremacist just because they want to live a nuclear family life, you know. There's a lot more I could say about the nuclear family. So we heard from Tucker as he basically draws a very stark comparison between the Bolshevik Revolution and the woke ideology run amok. Now, let's take a look at our mayor, our Chicago mayor.
Appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place. These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
First of all, Mr. Mayor, if you want to speak of something in the appropriate way, you might want to start by pronouncing the word correctly. It's not obfuscate, it's obfuscate. Okay? OBFUC. Okay? Obfuscate. Now, I get it. Sometimes people will flub words. I flub words. Or will run words together. I think in one of my past videos, what did I say? Michael Jacker. And what happened was that I was running the words Michael Jackson jacket craze. You know, the J's, the R from the word craze, it kind of ran together. That's not what's happening here. And I'm not just picking on him. I'm not nitpicking. There is a point to what I am saying, you know. What the gentleman is, it's a shining example of DEI inadequacy. And it really is time that we start talking about this, okay? It's extremely scary. I wish I could just, like I said, there's just a massive log jam of information. And that's why I'm doing today's video format the way that I am, because it'll just simply pile up. I think, I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 nights ago, was it my local news or nightly news? All I know is that the local college, in a gymnasium, they all pile in. It's just a massive train of just minorities being handed out scholarships. Normally, when you get your notification in the mail, you know, the big envelope, you know, that's normally, you know, we remember how we used to see them, videos of them. The kid would come home from their job because they're working hard, saving money for their education, and their parents would have the big envelope and be like, look what came in the mail today. And that would be like a really heartwarming family video. That wasn't what happened in this gymnasium. It was just basically a massive train, a massive turnout of No Child Left Behind being piled into what looked like a gymnasium, and they all were in cattle chutes and stanchions and lines, and they basically just go and pick up a scholarship to go to whatever college. Congratulations, you got a scholarship, yay. It gave me a sense of dread. Serious, I'm being very serious here. I don't think you understand the 20-year-olds that are going into what's supposed to be higher education. In the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be turning out of these institutions, much like our Democrat mayor here, who can't even pronounce the word. It's clearly obvious that he understands. I think he has a rudimentary understanding of the definition of the word, so he's not using it completely out of context. But I don't think he's the person who he heard it from was probably mispronouncing it. So you get what I'm saying? Who remembers, talking to my age group, remember the ditto? Every now and then the teacher would hand out a worksheet, and it had been just photocopied from a copy of a copy of a copy just so many times because the original ditto went missing, lost, and they had been limping along on a photocopy of a, and it just simply deteriorates to the point where it's shit. And I remember, I think she's still with us, Miss Sakini, my fifth grade teacher. I remember there was a couple of times there where she goes to start handing them out. She's like, you know what, it's all blurred together. You can't possibly read this. We'll do something else. And that is what's going on with our mayor here. Okay. He doesn't have a good understanding. He's using words. He probably wants to sound intelligent. He's hoping to convey some form of intelligence. As a matter of fact, I think I called one of these call-in lines and whatnot, and we have, what is it now? Was it Chicago? No, Philadelphia. Another DEI, first black woman appointed surgeon general or surgeon, basically the cop doctor. Okay, this person, or was it New Jersey here? May have been, I don't know, whatever. All I know is that you have this black woman who is a doctor, supposed to be a doctor, and they even said it in the news segment. She gets to say who is cleared for work, who can go and be a police officer. And granted, this black woman is under the auspices, under the control of the deep state. If you're not going to take the injection, if you're not going to virtue signal like our Romanovs that Tucker was talking about, if you're not going to virtue signal, if you're not going to suffocate your face and virtue signal, if you're not going to be that type of a police officer, then don't worry. I'll find a reason not to medically clear you. Okay? And these type of minorities, because I'm trying to be very hard here not to be too blanketed with my statement. I mean, hell, I'm a minority. I would like to think that I'm intelligent enough to not fall for the ridiculousness of the deep state. But I was saying to somebody, these type of minorities, it's very much indeed akin to, do they even call it busting anymore, or the dirty dozen? See, I'm so old. I'm sorry if I'm old. But, kids, they'd square off. And I guess it's good that they are doing a battle of the dirty dozens rather than, fist fights. Definitely better than guns. but of course, you say the wrong thing, you can hurt somebody's feelings, and that can be a brain worm that'll just simply fester, and next thing you know, it will turn into gun violence. But you get my point. But when we were kids, like 9 and 10 years old, and a couple kids would square off, and they go to busting on each other and dirty dozen, your mama so this, your mama so that, and on and on. Eventually, one of the two kids begins to run out of material. But by then, they have each accrued supporters, the two kids, and behind them is a gang of supporters. And what will sometimes happen, not always, but will sometimes happen is one of the supporters of the kid who's run out of material, they'll just kind of be like, just kind of like try and take up for him, like maybe whisper something in his ear, tell him this, tell him that, or just simply out loud begin to make excuses, and try to help out. It's kind of what happens here with these type of minorities. They don't have the aptitude to continue under their own power. And they then need, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, the Jewish oligarchy, because it's why the Jewish oligarchy likes to curate over its best friend alliance with the urban black community. The Jews know that they can puppeteer low skilled. I don't think the gentleman is stupid. I'm not going to say that he's stupid, but he just simply doesn't have the aptitude. And while we're on that, try not to be too, try not to just simply be name calling. I've kind of noticed that a little bit about the right, the right wing. They do tend to, maybe that's why they love Donald Trump so much. But it gets to me, it sounds childish. Donald Trump to cover up, or to use the word correctly, to obfuscate. Okay, Mr. Mayor, obfuscate. Donald Trump, in an attempt to obfuscate his lack of knowledge of the subject matter. Politics is a very, I don't know why this man went into politics. Oh my God. Politics is a very cerebral field. Hence the term political science. Okay, it's a very cerebral field. I'm sure Donald Trump fancies himself some sort of a political, whiz, but he's not. Okay, he's just really good at marketing, name calling, and basically getting the kids in the schoolyard, watching the fight, to cheer and to egg him on. He's good at doing that. But our mayor here, he doesn't have the aptitude. He doesn't really have the wherewithal to, just like Lori Lightfoot, it's why, what was it here? What's her name? Help me. She had like 10 pounds of horse's hair piled up on her head. The police chief here at Philadelphia, it's, she has like 10 pounds of fake horse hair piled up on top of her head, but whatever. Outlaw, there you go. Outlaw, but again, what was it? See, again, so much I want to transfer, just terabytes of information. It's like I want to take you back to 2016, where there were a number of political figures who were very, very quietly, be it political and also in police departments, a lot of captains, a lot of police chiefs and commissioners, senators, and around 2016, very quietly stepped off the stage. A lot of them went into left-wing think tanks, such as Mayor Michael Nutter. He was just one of many that very quietly exited the stage. And and they installed persons, puppets like this, and puppets like Danielle Outlaw, just and Lori Lightfoot, just absolute ass clowns, just laughably unqualified. Okay, let's listen to the rest of what he has to say. It's only about a minute here, I think.
That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully. These large gatherings.
That cause damage.
These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
This was the scene near Roosevelt and Canal Sunday night. Groups looted a convenience store. More than 3 dozen teenagers were arrested, along with a 12-year-old and at least one 20-year-old. Store owners say it was the second such incident in that area in just the past few weeks. And today, Mayor Johnson commended Chicago police for the way they handled it.
To the best of their ability, I believe that they attempted to engage with our young people, with community partners, giving as much warning as they possibly could. And, unfortunately, arrests, were made.
Okay, that's where it was only a minute long. A lot of this looting, rioting, it's allegedly supposed to be in protest to Eddie Irizarry. I'm pretty sure we've all seen it, but come on, we'll pop over, take a look at it. I really want to focus on race here tonight, so we'll pop over and we'll take a look at the Eddie Irizarry shooting. Okay, guys, here we are at the Eddie Irizarry shooting. I just want to focus on a couple of time indexes and make my point about the whole thing. Let's take a look.
Shots fired, 100 West Willard. Get your hand up right now!
Okay, to the best of my knowledge, and I've tried, and I don't know, maybe you guys have higher definition screens than I do. I've tried my best to see through the it's not so much a tint in the window, but you know how even when a car's windshield doesn't really have tint to it, the glare, should I say, the reflection, I can't really see through. So, how much of a gun did these knives, which were indeed confirmed, the knives are confirmed to be in the car, though where their exact position was at, that I cannot tell you. And to the best of my knowledge, I've watched this footage a number of times. I'm sure you have as well. I cannot exactly say. However, it is true. Our officer, our officer back here, he does indeed say he's got a gun. Matter of fact, I have it paused here at the 10-second mark. I think less than a second later, you will hear him say that he's got a gun. So that's why he's saying, giving these commands. He said it. And he has Mark Dial thinking that he has a gun. That's why these charges were ultimately dismissed.
I'll fucking shoot you!
So, one thing that I did notice here, I want to say this about these car occupant shootings, police shooting the occupants of vehicles. Let's see, do I want to jump over to it? Yes or no? Maybe. Because I really want you to understand what I'm talking about. It was over in France. He was a Muslim guy. And he was inside the car very much indeed, exactly like Eddie Irizarry is here. However, what was different was that the police officer that shot him, he deliberately leaned over the hood of the car, okay, the engine hood of the car, placing himself basically face to face with the driver who is in the car holding the wheel looking straight forward. So he has leaned all the way over with his gun. And what this French police officer was trying to do was to artificially create a cause and a reason for why he can use lethal force. Oh my God, you're about to hit me. You're going to kill me. Well, now that you've leaned into the car, then yeah. And yes, I get it. You have a driver, that's been given a lawful command to stop his vehicle. The driver was being accused or observed driving in an illegal fashion, or whatever the case may be. That was cause for the original stop. The driver did not comply, and I want to talk about that as well. That's part of my analysis. But as far as analyzing what some of these police officers are doing, if I'm not mistaken, we also just saw this here, a version of it. What was it? The woman shoplifter comes out the liquor store, and she gets in her car. And what the police officer does there is he stands in front of the car. He knows the car is already, the engine's turned on, and it's already starting to move. But what he does is that the police officer stands in front of it, thus creating the cause for use of lethal force. Okay? This is what, see, if there are any cops out there listening to this, I get it. I understand. The retail theft has run amok, but you really and truly are playing a very, very dangerous game with your freedom. Okay? It is true. They are in a car, but it's also equally true that you positioned yourself quite deliberately and willfully in front of the car in an attempt to create a scenario which you, in your own eminent authority, would give you license to kill, basically. This is where I'm not saying, see, why even put yourself into that position? That's kind of what I'm saying, because I get it. You want the car to stop and you want your commands followed. I get it. I do. I get it. And, because see, this is where I'm going to, that's why that was my finger wagging lecture to the cops. But now here's where the pendulum swings back in favor of the police, okay? And swings out of the favor of our thief or reckless driver. Now, we just saw, let's see. Hold on, let me show you some footage. Actually, before I pull away from this, what I want to show you is that side footage. Where is it? I want the footage that's outside the vehicle, from the building, the surveillance, because what it does is that it shows Mark Dial prancing away. That's really kind of the best that I can say it. It shows him. There we go. I think this might be it. Yeah. Okay, so here, I'll show you what I'm saying. Yeah, see how he's running, and it's almost like prancing sideways. That matter of fact, and I said it, I didn't have to hear it from Mark Dial's lawyer. I thought this all on my own. The way that he is running for cover. You don't run for cover. I think his body language helped him greatly in this instance, Mark Dial. it tells me something. It tells me that Mark Dial genuinely believes that there is a gun. And given the fact that a lot of officers have been shot and killed, the gun violence is absolutely crazy. This tells me that Mark Dial is very much indeed in fear of his life. And he's just basically prancing and running away. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you here. But like I say, that French cop, he leaned over the hood here, and just simply pointed the gun right there. You're playing a dangerous game when you do that sort of thing. I don't recommend that you do it. You're going to suddenly find yourself, you see what I'm saying? I know they got the whole saying. I get it. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. If you say it, mean it, because it's very much indeed probably about to happen. So, but yeah, let me take you over to some footage here. Ohio. It was in Ohio that he shot the pregnant woman that had just been shoplifting. Let's take a look at it.
Authorities in Ohio today released the body cam video of a fatal police shooting near Columbus of a 21-year-old pregnant woman. CBS's Nancy Chen reports a lawyer representing the family says the footage shows a, quote, gross misuse of power and authority.
Hey, out of the car. Out of the car.
Newly released police body camera footage shows 21-year-old Takia Young, a pregnant woman, repeatedly being told by 2 police officers to get out of her car last week.
Out of the car.
Young, who is suspected of shoplifting alcohol at a nearby grocery store, refuses to exit her vehicle.
They said your stole stuff, do not leave. Get out of the car. Then get out. No.
Moments later, Young slowly accelerates toward an
And this is what we're talking about. Okay, so it's a slow roll and it's ample time for you to get out the way. You see, I keep a very rational understanding here, okay? There are 2 things about this type of scenario or the Eddie Irizarry that we need to understand. Number 1, there's ample time to get out the way. We see the cop, he's got the gun drawn, and he's about to shoot and kill her and the unborn child. Although we can just, we'll put a pin in that. I retract that because he doesn't know the woman's pregnant. So, okay. But he can step out the way. And who are we kidding? He's standing in front of the vehicle for one purpose and one purpose only. He's throwing down the gauntlet. You dare not better try and get away. Okay? Because I think there's a vehicle parked in back of her. Going forward is the only way out. There are gobs and volumes that I could probably go on. Excuse me. That I could go on and on about what the face suffocators, fake pandemic, how it has radicalized a lot of the urban black community, leaving them with this impression that you can do whatever you want in the name of social justice. Granted the fact that you just stole alcohol, I believe it was, that she just stole. Okay? Like I say, I wasn't even willing to protest my liquor store, when they were refusing to accept cash during the fake pandemic. It crossed my mind I could get out, get the camera ready, and, I got the law, I got codified law on my side, and I could do all that. But like I said, I didn't like the optics, alcohol. You're going to really make this big of a stink over alcohol? And that was me wanting to buy it, just simply buy it. This woman is stealing alcohol, something that you do not need, okay? It's pretty clear already that your judgment is really jacked up. The last thing you need to be doing is drinking alcohol. So we'll play what happens next,
officer. He then fires once, hitting her in the chest. The officers chased the car as it rolls into a wall and immediately began medical assistance. Young was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Her baby did not survive. Blendon Township Police Chief John Belford has placed the unidentified officer who fired the shot on administrative leave pending an investigation.
Okay, so now that we've seen a couple of car occupant incidents here, where the police officer shot and killed the person, taking action. We've now seen two examples of what happens when a police officer takes action. Hold, let me beat this damn chest. Hold on. I'm back. Sorry. Papa Halls, too. All right. We've just seen two examples of what happens when a police officer takes decisive action. The cause and the reasons for why they're taking that particular type of decisive action, we could have discussions about it. Officers that are what would seem to be deliberately putting themselves in harm's way in a desperate attempt of stopping the vehicle, stopping the driver. And I'm sure all of these family members of these people who have been killed, Eddie Irizarry, I have seen the funeral, gut rent, the family members, pouring out emotional outpour. There you go. That's what I'm trying to get around to saying. The emotional outpour that they make, it's real, and it's to be acknowledged. However, don't you think it's time that we also, if we're going to have an honest discussion about this topic, we also need to take a very stark look at what happens when a police officer decides not to take immediate, decisive, lethal action to stop a rogue driver.
Into a police chase that ended with a first responder being hurt in Northeast Philadelphia.
Officials say officers were trying to stop a stolen SUV when it slammed into an ambulance. Action News' Maggie Kent has more on the crash, including surveillance video of the impact. She's live right there at the scene with the story.
The windshield is completely destroyed. The airbags, of course, deployed. Police say that the person who was driving this SUV was driving a stolen vehicle. They're now in the hospital under the watch of police. An ambulance jumps the curb, T-boned by a black SUV. It slammed directly into the empty patient cabin at the corner of Salt Street and East Cheltenham Avenue.
The ambulance kind of jumped up a little bit before it banged to the side of my house.
Crash in Brookhaven. One of the vehicles involved in that accident was stolen. Police were pursuing the driver when the person crashed. Action News reporter Catherine Scott joins us now live in Brookhaven with more. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim. That's right. At least 5 people were hurt. The accident happened at this intersection here in Brookhaven. It's Edgemont in Brookhaven. It happened last evening as police are trying to stop a stolen car. People heard the impact and they came running.
I was actually...
That's interesting. I'm looking for the footage of the actual collision crash itself. For reasons I can't quite explain, it seems to have been taken off of. Interesting. The reason why is because the footage shows this car being driven by the urban black teenagers plowing into the back of this red truck, which then is forced to T-bone that minivan. And here is where the they come pouring out the car like a bunch of cockroaches, running out the car, trying to flee and evade the point that I am making is simple. When these thugs are not stopped, they can and will kill you. Okay? Soccer mom. Actually, I don't know the exact occupants of that vehicle, but it could very well have been your soccer mom van full of kids, not just her kids, but other people's kids. People can be killed. People can and are killed by these vehicles running away. So the point that I am making is that I see both sides of the argument. I fully acknowledge that police officers are indeed creating a situation to utilize lethal force. They're creating their excuse. And I'm going to tell you right, as far as that goes, I'm going to tell you this. You are playing. I get it, because horrible shit like this can happen where entire families can be wiped out. Okay? Entire families can be wiped out for police inaction, for them not taking action. Okay? But in the case of Eddie Irizarry, where they are definitely looking to put Mark Dial away for the rest of his life, okay?
Clock charges dismissed. The case against former Philadelphia police officer Mark Dial has been thrown out after defense attorneys argued today that he acted in self-defense when he shot and killed Eddie Irizarry in August. The judge threw out the case, citing a lack of evidence.
The game that you are playing when you do this sort of thing is extremely dangerous. Are you aware that you are flirting with not third, second, but first degree murder? Okay? Especially in the case of the pregnant woman, okay? Not so much with Mark Dial. Mark Dial happened in a matter of seconds. There was literally no time to premeditate. But the officer who was stopping the pregnant shoplifter, there was indeed time to formulate a plan, okay? To stand there. A prosecutor, should I say, a prosecutor, especially a George Soros-backed prosecutor, they could very well indeed craft an argument that says that you took the time to put yourself in harm's way to create an excuse to use lethal force. You premeditated the use of lethal force. I'm telling you, don't play this game. If you're a cop out there and you're hearing me, if my words are reaching you, I understand you want to stop the crime, and I also understand you want to stop these marauders tearing through intersections, wiping out entire families. Hell, it might be my life that you end up saving. I'm not as much as I'd like to. I'm looking at my bike. Not as much as I'd like to, but I still get out on it when I can. I tell you, it's so sad. It's depressing. I look at the treads on the tires, and the tires tread still looks practically brand new. Anyway, I don't want to think about it because it depresses me. But I get what you're doing, and your reasoning, your rationale for putting yourself in harm's way might be of noble reasoning, but at the end of the day, your George Soros prosecutor is indeed going to craft an argument that says not only is it murder, but it's premeditated murder. Don't fucking do this. Go home to your family. You got it? Go home to your family. Mr. Dial, 'cause I got one hand in my pocket and the other one shooting Eddie. Actually, that was the hand that he shot him with. I'm pointing this out. If there are any eagle-eyed photographers out there, I want to get a look at that right hand. I want to know, why is it just a nervous tick? Maybe it's just a nervous tick. But I do know, let's take a look here. We can see that his right arm, he has a tattoo sleeve. But I want to know what's on his hand. If I didn't know better, it's almost like because it's not just simply at that one instance. Let's take a look. When he first walks in.
Now at 4 o'clock, charges dismissed. The case
See?
against former Philadelphia police.
See? There it is. He has that hand in that pocket again. I don't know. Is it a nervous tick? Or does he know that cameras are going to be out there? What's on Mark Dial's right hand? Is there a tattoo? A particular type of tattoo? I think you see where I'm going. So like I say, I'm not just sitting here all up cops' ass and back to blue no matter what. No, I don't play that shit. I keep a very, very logical, even keel approach to these things, okay? Remember, there's not my truth, your truth, their truth. There's only one truth. And I want to know what is on Mark Dial's hand. Why does he seem to always keep that hand in his pocket when coming and going? You would think that somebody would have seen it by now if it was something nefarious. I don't know. Like I say, it might just be a nervous tick. It could very well be a nervous tick, but I basically made my point here. I'm at 46. I want to show you one last piece of racial brainwashing that you've been subjected to before we close out the episode. Really quick, because I'm not doing the Hunter Biden thing. I'm not doing that thing to this episode. What I just want to say really fast and then move on with our racial episode here. Do you know the difference between the words proof and evidence? Okay? Proof versus evidence. Evidence, both proof and evidence point toward the commission of a crime. However, proof proves that the crime was committed. However, evidence, Mr. Mayor, I hope you're listening, evidence of a crime should not be obfuscated. And that is exactly what the Democrats want to do. In other words, if a man turns up dead and there is evidence of his wife Googling web history, insurance, life insurance, hitman for hire, you see what I'm saying? It's not definitive proof, but it is evidence. It's evidence that's used in an investigation. Is that not what an impeachment query is all about? There is indeed sufficient evidence to push forward with subpoenas and search warrants to find out to basically confirm, okay? Because the evidence is very damning, okay? I'm not even going to, it's been rehashed forever. The Democrats simply obfuscate it. They turn a blind eye to the evidence, okay? They don't want to see it, okay? There is ample evidence, okay? Evidence that very much indeed is very quickly racing toward becoming proof. Let's move on.
Some chilling new details emerging tonight about the moments leading up to the killing of that young tech CEO in Baltimore after the suspect was arrested last night. Ron Allen is there and has late details.
Tonight, Baltimore prosecutors vowing to send Jason Billingsley to prison for the rest of his life after charging him with murdering tech CEO Pavel Lepere.
The last few days have been unnerving for our citizens, and I sincerely hope we are able to find a little bit of peace today.
In a statement, Lepere's family saying they're relieved to know he can no longer hurt other innocent victims.
She really was larger than life.
The arrest hours after a vigil attended by hundreds.
She was the definition of daddy's little girl. She had me wrapped and still does.
Charging documents say Lepere let the suspect into the building where she lived and worked last Friday night around 11 p.m. And that security footage shows them getting into an elevator together. The documents say Lepere's half-clothed body was found on the roof. The cause of death, strangulation and blunt force trauma. Today, police also revealed they already were tracking Billingsley as a suspect in a case involving attempted murder, rape, and arson, but had not alerted the public when he allegedly killed LaPere 3 days later, leading to questions about whether authorities should have raised alarms about Billingsley before he allegedly killed LaPere, a widely admired tech entrepreneur.
The black male eulogizer. This is not by accident. It's very deliberate and very willful. Clearly, our LaPere family, liberals who vote in their liberal way, which give rise. White liberal guilt. Here, let me get the door. Come on in. You get what I'm saying. I think you know where I'm going with that. They wanted to immediately show you as they go to talk about and cover this segment of the story. Look, everybody, here's a good black guy. I know. We're about to talk about a black man doing something vicious and horrible to a white woman. But hey, here's a good black guy. Isn't he a nice looking black guy? Clean cut. You know, isn't that what Joe Biden would say? So clean. So here we have them psychologically manipulating you, okay? They're showing you that, hey, it's okay to be black. And it is okay to be black, obviously. But what I'm saying is they're preying on your white liberal guilt. You know, they're showing you that, don't give up the cause. It's not so much about, because, I mean, hey, there are some white dudes out there that I would not get into a elevator with. So I think you know what I'm saying. If I'm not mistaken, the next story after this remember now, your television programming, a lot of thought goes into it. You know, I don't want to jump off the rails here because I know, we hear a lot of our conservative candidates. They've been lambasting a lot of the ridiculous degrees that are coming out of colleges. Zombie degree, gender study degree, and all that kind of stuff. And for the most part, a lot of those degrees, they are completely ridiculous and worthless. However, the type of psychology, neuroscience, political science. You see what I'm saying? It's how this program is put together. A lot goes into it, and a lot of different type of degrees go into it. You know, the same person who will put together this program will also put together, they might also have worked on Price is Right. You know, Price is Right. What are you talking about? It requires a type of psychological manipulation. Our models, yes, they're pretty, they get up there, but our models are given very specific instructions when a prize is shown. You know, they will just kind of, they don't necessarily handle the prize or necessarily enjoy it, but if a prize is sitting, like if it's whatever it may be, a washer, dryer, they just kind of touch, and they might lift a lid and just kind of, they make physical contact. You will also see this in your daily commercials and whatnot. The people who build those commercials, they went to college. They got a degree in this type of a field on how to psychologize. Because remember, marketing just simply isn't, oh boy, I got a printing press. No. You need way more than just a printing press. You know, I was telling somebody, a lot of the things that are shown to you in commercials, it would shock you. Although DEI is changing a lot of the rules, but it's like, I'm not going to get into it. I'll end up on a long tangent about stuff. Anyway, you're being psychologically controlled. Let's take a look at our next order of story here. So we see something where A black man, black man did something horrible to a white woman. Let's take a look at our next story right in back of it.
Businesses in Philadelphia are cleaning up after another night of looting and destruction, and authorities say social media is partially to blame for promoting some of the violence. Here's George Solis.
I think everybody has seen this footage already. It's a bunch of urban niggas gone wild, basically. That's the long and short of it. They break in, and again, under the... You know what? I even think the whole social justice thing, are you even using that as justification anymore? I don't even think you are. I just simply think you want to go out there and mindlessly pillage and steal. And I mean mindlessly. I mean, you went to the Apple electronics store. Did you not? I mean, clearly you did know, because you ended up smashing all the devices. You'll be tracked. You're carrying something that'll bring the cops directly to you. Okay? For a long time, for many years, I've wondered, why do people even steal phones anymore? I mean, why? You know? So, this is our next story, and it shows basically black people behaving very, very bad. But of course, we can't leave it here. We're going to have to do some damage control, says our psychological manipulators. Let's take a look at our next story after our mass rioting looters. Before moving on from this story, okay, let me get my mug out the way. Who remembers that it came out a few months ago, and it was very quietly decided, because it was a leaked memorandum to all of these news channels, not just simply NBC, all of them, CBS, CNN, all of them, 6ABC, all of them. They are to stop referring, because if I'm not mistaken, in our LePere murder thing, they were talking about why wasn't basically an all points bulletin put out for this person? Why weren't they tracked better? Well, if you want to track the murderer, okay, you're going to need to use their race. And that's what came out in this memo. Stop talking about the perpetrator's race. Why? Simple. They are black as hell. Okay? I think you got what? 1, 2, I think are, I think you're white, and I think you're white. Maybe. I think the rest are either black or Hispanic, okay? And it's all basically black, or Hispanic. This is why the cops didn't want to track that guy, okay? You put cops into a difficult position. Oh my God, if you start going around to people's in neighborhoods saying, have you seen this guy? Here is his description. Blackmail, yada, yada. Oh, what do you mean blackmail? Racism. See what I'm saying? Let's move on to our next story.
Who goes by Meatball online?
Going down right here, y'all. Ain't nothing.
Police say Blackwell was live streaming on Instagram during Tuesday's chaos, sharing her location and appearing to egg on looters.
Free iPhones! Let me see the iPhone. Oh my God, I want the...
Police say at one point, 12,000 people were watching.
Social media is the bane of our life. It accelerates everything.
The district attorney charged Blackwell with 6 felonies, including burglary, conspiracy, and rioting.
Okay, couple things I want to talk about here. You heard both the police, the mayor, they're talking about social media, okay? In case you can't figure it out, that's a dog whistle attack on the First Amendment. Remember, that's a Democrat for you. Don't let any tragedy, even the body shots that they take, because you would think, oh my God, look, this is proving that us conservatives, we've got it right. This proves our point. Even when we land body shots against the radical left, they take the energy from those shots and they actually turn it into some sort of kinetic, usable energy for their own means, to their own end. Okay? They're going to, remember now, the left controls the narrative. There's a whole lot I could say about that. The left controls the narrative. So instead of talking about out of control black thugs coming from broken homes, no, we don't want to talk about that. Instead, let's talk about social media. Let's talk about all the freedom that's running rampant on social media. Freedom that allows me to make this video right here. You know, shouldn't that freedom be curtailed? Shouldn't it be policed? Shouldn't that freedom be tightly controlled by government regulators? See? That's where they're going. Also, the felon, before I forget, that's her charges. Meatball, as she likes to be called, her social media accounts are still active. Okay? Going on that kind of a crime spree, she's still allowed to be on social media. YouTube doesn't have a problem. Facebook doesn't got a problem. Instagram, no problem, Meatball. You go, girl. You was just happy to be nappy. She's nappy. Okay? And frankly, there's something I've been meaning to talk about with that. Okay, because going back to the whole car crash, I was editing out stuff, and the witness and the guy, you know, the nappy fro fade. I don't know what, you know, nappy fro. I don't know what it's called, okay? But here's my thing with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, number one, you can definitely have naturally textured hair. You owe nobody nothing to put chemicals in your hair. You know, I fully support that. And naturally textured hair for black people, it is beautiful hair. I don't got a problem with it. My beef is, can you please comb and brush your hair? All right? I mean, trust me, I don't turn on this damn camera. I don't know if y'all can see. I don't turn on this damn camera unless my waves are marinating, baby. unless my wave gonna be seen. Can y'all see? Unless my waves are marinating, baby. And if my waves are not marinating, then yes, it's the do-rag. When my shit ain't marinating, it's the do-rag, okay? But no, and of course, a silly podcast is just one thing. If you're going to step outside your home, and that is, I am serious. You know, you step outside your home, you make sure, you know, your everything is clean and in decent order. This is how you present yourself. This is what she was wearing when she got arrested. You know, they made her take her Aunt Jemima head wrap off to get her mugshot, teary-eyed, okay? And she's still allowed to be on social media. Charged with felonies. I'm not allowed to be on YouTube, you know. Or my main channel was taken down. Frankly, the channels that are up now, got at any minute, maybe this video will be the one that takes it down. Who the hell knows, okay? So I definitely am not depending on YouTube. That's why I always say, welcome to BitChute, welcome to Rumble, welcome to free speech. Yes, power to Rumble. You go. Okay. Again, a lot of the creators are saying, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Definitely standing up for us. Rumble CEO definitely taking it to the mat, going to the mat for their content creators. So, you know, please definitely support Rumble as much as you can. So, Meatball here, who can't even be bothered to comb her fucking hair. You know, it is a, you know what? And like I say, if it's natural, I think like a 70s afro, I think it's beautiful. Like the way Colin Kaepernick, you know, I got my beef with his politics, but hey, at least he picks his shit out. Hey, that's wonderful. You know what? I wish I could wear an afro, but my hair is in such it's neither here nor there, you know. It's not ethnic enough that I can get decent sized braids out of it. I've tried braiding my hair. It's not thick enough. It's not ethnic enough, but then it's also not Caucasian enough. So if I were to pick my hair out, it would be, of course, like the length of my freaking arm. It'd be like, I mean, I kind of got like a natural cowlick back here anyway, so it would just kind of flop. It would be like this big flop, a floppy fro. It would just be a floppy fro. Look at me, I'm so off topic. Let's wrap up. What am I? Oh, I'm over an hour. Oh my God, come on. Let me wrap up. All right, bye, Meatball.
Now that government funding that so many child care centers depended on during the pandemic is set to end within days. Blaine Alexander now with what families need to know.
It's hard to find a dull moment in the Baxter household. With 2 full-time working parents and 2 small children, the secret sauce in keeping it all together? The Clay County Early Education Center here in Hayesville, North Carolina. That's where 3-year-old Jura spends her days.
How crucial is that child care to just having your family run smoothly?
All right, very sweet. No. Hopefully I've crashed course you enough on psychological manipulation, especially in terms of race. It is by no coincidence that Nightly News is ending its news segment here with a loving, and I mean it is loving. This just, it's so, look at this family. Oh, look at this, people. I mean, this is just, there they are, the family. It's, come on, let's get a look at that.
The Clay County Early Education Center here in Hayesville, North Carolina. That's where 3-year-old Jura spends her days.
How crucial is that child care?
So, this loving little setup. I mean, we even got the little flowers on the table. I'm telling you, none of this is by accident. They chose this family very specifically, very interracial, racial harmony. We started out our broadcast showing you an extremely violent, murderous rape, murder, pillage, black man raping and pillage. But we're going to end with, oh my God, he's such a good guy. He's just, let's take a listen to him.
Impact. One report estimates more than 70,000 child care providers that have received that money could face possible closure. Sheila Hoyle is director of the Southwestern Child Development Commission, which operates the Hayesville Center. Jill and Miguel say one of them might have to leave their job.
Within a 25-mile radius, there's absolutely no option.
If you've been in this business, you've hit several bumps in the road. This is the largest bump.
So our psychological crafters, they had to pick and choose here with their imaging, okay, with their subliminal messaging. They're trying their best to convey the concept of poverty, but they also want to, the paramount message that they want to send to you is that black people are not dangerous. Okay, that's more important to them than communicating poverty, because normally for these kinds of stories about shutdowns and childcare, they usually go inner city, for this kind of a thing. But here we're out in the suburbs and both parents are working. It's a married household, I mean, I get it. They're most likely Democrats, but this is what you would call the nuclear family. They're trading off, they in this particular instance, they feel it's more important to communicate that black people are not dangerous, and all black people, they're not all dangerous. Not all white people are safe. Okay. You get my point. But it's about psychological manipulation. So there you have it. He's a good looking guy. Yeah. You did good, girl. Go on. But of course, it's all crafted, I was telling somebody today, we're always being told the replacement theory It's a conspiracy theory. It's a trope. It's anti-Semitic. It's racist. It's all this stuff. And yet, every single day, I don't have to wonder. This was this yesterday's nightly news we're looking at right here? I haven't caught nightly news tonight. I already know it's going to be more of the same DEI replacement crap. That's kind of what I was started out with the episode saying. I'm extremely worried about myself along with the rest of society. When these DEI idiots start coming out to colleges, God help us. God help us all. Okay? Oh my God. Just God help us. And it's not because I just got a new social worker. Another one. I swear the turnover rate is so crazy. And the one that I have now is a young white woman. She's very inert. She's very how can I say? I don't want to get off. I'm wrapping this thing up, but she's very inert. She's very she probably does have a lot of liberal leaning. She got the door knocker nose ring and whatnot, a small one, a real small, and she vapes and anyway, she is not a very effective social worker, and quite frankly, I don't know if that's just simply accidental or if she's quite literally just simply undermining my care. I really don't know. But she replaces a black woman who was infinitely much better, much more effective, Matter of fact, she's probably so good that she probably does know her worth, and she probably, pulled the ripcord, bail out, punch out, eject. That's why it's a high turnover rate. I'm saying all that because I'm trying hard to make you understand that I'm not trying to say that all black people are terrible and are going to be DEI garbage. And I'm definitely telling you, don't just simply think that every white person that wanders into your wife is going to be, wonderful, because it's not the way it is. But I'm just simply talking statistically, national averages. A lot of urban black people, underqualified, are being poured into these colleges. And we already know the curriculum is DEI, woke. It's what you get is going to be garbage coming out. And quite frankly, I think that's by deliberate design. I believe that the elite oligarchs are creating a gilded cage. I can't even say gilded. A gilded cage is probably what you could have called Levittown when it was first built. Keeping the Goyim happy within their own neighborhood. But anyway, they want the garbage to take care of the garbage. Do you get what I'm saying? We're going to have garbage people, no child left behind, free tuition, free college, free everything, piss poor work ethic. We're just going to rubber stamp their degrees. They're going to come out and they're going to take care of you. Garbage people. People who are too stupid to understand that you're being treated like garbage. See, that's why they want to keep everybody as stupid as possible. They want to keep you out the schools. Trust me, every damn year, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be suffocation diapers and mold. Oh my goodness. Mold and asbestos. Oh my God, I can't believe we found it. What do you mean? Cut the shit. All of these schools have got to be like going on 100 years old almost. Okay? These asbestos or whatever it is, your excuse, it was always there. You didn't have to go. They want to keep your children out of school. They want to keep your children stupid. Too stupid to realize that they are going to be cared for by people who was every bit as stupid. Yes, yes, people. The movie Idiocracy, they are literally trying to turn it into reality. And that's what's happening. All right, way over time here. All right, that's it. Yes, indeed. Our gentleman here had a very, very good-looking family. These are some nice kids. You know, that's a lovely home. Like I say, both... They said one might have to give up their job. Oh, no. You mean you're going to have to be a traditional family? Oh, no. I mean, honestly, if I had... I mean, they're not rich, you know. They're not rich. I'm not going to oversell it. But I might would want to... I mean, people taking care of your kids. It's... I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting because I was abused as a child in child care. So, all right, that's it. People, stay nuclear. How about that for an ending? People, stay nuclear. Total Control, 871.